Greetings everyone. In this video I want to talk about your consciousness, which is also one of your frequency bodies.
Greetings! This infinite source truth is made possible by the generous contributions and support of viewers like you. Please consider making a contribution now. Thank you.
Greetings everyone. In this video I want to talk about your consciousness, which is also one of your frequency bodies and one of your game pieces in this game. Now in a previous video I had talked about your 5 frequency bodies, and consciousness, your consciousness body, is one of your frequency bodies. And your consciousness shifts between frequencies. Now I said you have empty shells of your avatar on each frequency plane, and your consciousness determines which plane, which avatar you are inhabiting, on which frequency plane you are inhabiting and experiencing with your consciousness state, your consciousness body. Now, your consciousness, you have shifts in consciousness that shifts you up and down the frequency planes depending on what you are thinking and choices that you have made. Now, when you go to bed at night, does your consciousness leave you? Absolutely not. Your consciousness is part of what gives you dreams. But when you go to sleep, you hear sounds that will awaken you. So your consciousness is awake and aware while your avatar body goes into the rest state. Your consciousness can be your thinking, but that's also affected by your subconscious, which is another frequency body. Your consciousness can also be affected by your beliefs. If you believe in sin and karma, if you are choosing higher or lower frequency experiences or choices. Your consciousness is your choice maker. Can be influenced also by your subconscious and by your other frequency bodies. Now, if you go into a video game and you're playing online and you're playing as a character and you have a controller and you say, well, I want to play against the computer. So the computer will put in other character players that only the computer is working and not a person or you, the source player. I'm going to liken this to you being the one that's maneuvering your character around, because you're the source player, you've got the controller, and you're making the decisions for that avatar that's on the screen that is you. You're making the choices. The consciousness is making the choices for that character. Now, all those computerized characters is simply a program that's running to counter or respond to whatever actions and choices that you make in your avatar, in your game. This is how, when you are experiencing this game, there are a lot of non-character players who do not have soul cages and do not have souls. They are simply characters to respond and enhance your experience within the secondary matrix dream state, and they are hooked up to lifeless bodies to keep those bodies alive until that product is needed or ready to be harvested. Only source players have consciousness. If a non-character player appears to have consciousness, it is because the computer system, the matrix, has created it to be so. Really, if you were to look around you and the non-character players were so different from you, wouldn't you figure out that you're in a game, that not everybody is like you, that not everybody is a source player, and that that there's some programming going on here? Wouldn't you figure that out? So the computer is made to mimic and respond and do its own programming, to work on programming you with peer pressure and other, family demands and everything else being placed on you to shape and mold you to fit better into the game and to stay asleep. This game is amazing. The stronger connection that you get with your source self, the more conscious awareness that you have and more knowing that you will have of the game and of your choices and of the cause and effect of your choices. This game is what you make of it. It really is. If you dislike the game, then your conscious level is low. This is a magnificent creation. With all the different experiences from high to low that is possible within this game. Nowhere else can you experience this. And even if you're not having the best time of it right now, you have to look at the whole game as being amazing. That you created it, that we created it for the experience. Now remember that in the primary matrix and your source self outside the matrix, it's neutral. There is no right or wrong. It's just an experience. But when we are in this secondary matrix experience, we think of things as being good and bad and right and wrong, and it's the duality within this secondary matrix, which is amazing. It's amazing. Now, if you're feeling down or you're feeling discouraged or you're feeling depressed, you can use your conscious choice to remove those things from you and dwell on the things that will lift your consciousness and encourage you. What you're listening to, what you're watching. If you're caught up in conspiracies and stuff, well, that's going to suck you right down the drain. If you're listening to blues music where everybody's sad, or country music where they've lost their girl, lost their man, well, how is that uplifting? And if you are mindlessly listening to these things and your mind is taking it in and you are in your subconscious is taking it in, that's a programming that's going on. And is that really what you want to be feeding yourself? There's so much to this game, even though you think it might be insignificant or unimportant. There is lots of subtle programming that's going on around you, and your choices on what music you select and what choices that you make all have a very powerful and impactful effect on your game experience. It really does influence you. It becomes a subtle, behind the scenes, not so obvious influence in your choices in your game. And again, it's your choice to allow those things to be there. So make the best, most beneficial choices for yourself in your game. Think on those things that are going to uplift you and not those things that are going to tear you down. Now, if you find the information that I'm sharing in these videos and the work that I have done in the Matrix beneficial, then it benefits you to say thank you with a gift via PayPal. The link is in the description box below. Abundance, health, and prosperity to you.